What is up, everyone? JGait is here, and I'm back with another episode of JGait Sports Talk. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I sure did. Boy, this past weekend, a lot of good action, and last night too. There was a lot of good events that happened last night. So, let's get to it. First thing I'm going to talk about is the NBA. First game I'm going to talk about was LA Clippers game versus Brooklyn Nets. That game was so epic. Nets won 127-122 in double overtime. I mean, just a intense game overall. Now, a lot of people watching last night remember how Doc Rivers got upset over foul and he crossed half court. Then he got a technical and he just lost it right there. He had to be held back. He received another technical and an ejection. I mean, that was so. You rarely see that these days, like a coach getting that upset. But I can understand why he was upset though. I mean, the lead referee thought Doc Rivers was yelling at another referee, but he wasn't. But at the same time, you still have to control your emotions. I mean, it's just part of the game. The Nets were led by Sean Kilpatrick, who had his best game so far this season, 38 points, 14 rebounds, and 31 of those points came in the second half and in both overtimes. Clippers, Chris Paul, he had a triple-double, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 13 assists. DeAndre Jordan, 21 points, 23 rebounds. JJ Redick, 18 points. I mean, I'm really surprised at the Clippers because they started off the season really well. And I think they took it for granted because they've lost 3 in a row. I mean, they just got to work on their game. And a funny moment from this game was when Paul passed to Paul Pierce, who attempted a dunk but missed, and then CP3 gave him CPR. I mean, it's a good thing CP3 knows CPR. I mean, that came in really handy. And then, of course, you remember Jamal Crawford hit that shot that tied the game up. I mean, like I said before, just an intense game. The Nets really needed this win. Right now they're 5-12. They snapped a 7-game losing streak. Just a lot of hard work from them. Okay, the next game I'm moving on to was the Cavaliers game versus the Bucks. Cavaliers had an off night. The Bucks won 118-101. LeBron, he only had 22 points. Kevin Love had 13 points and 13 rebounds. But the star of this game was, on the Bucks, the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. He had 34 points and 12 rebounds. I mean, his production has gone up since the time he's entered the league. Just a great overall player. And during the game, who could forget the moment that J.R. Smith stepped off court to say hi to Jason Terry, but he forgot that he was in the game, and that allowed Tony Snell to go in for the easy layup. And then in the post-game interview, JR's like, I didn't even know I was in the game, my bad. But still, that's like a, bro, come on moment. I mean, like, come on. You got to pay attention, man. You got to use your head. I'm just kidding. Okay. That was an interesting game. Next, I'm going to talk about Russell Westbrook. I mean, he is doing a great job. And so far this season, he's averaging a triple-double. He's averaging 30.9 points, 11.3 assists, and 10.3 rebounds per game. I mean, he's second active among current players, triple-doubles career, second behind LeBron. I mean, who knows if he could break Oscar Robertson's record? I mean, that would be really unbelievable. But, as you know, the Thunder have struggled all season because of Durant's departure. But, I got a good feeling about the Thunder. They got a good squad. Alright, leaving the NBA, I'm going to move on to the NFL. First game I'm going to discuss was Monday night's matchup. Green Bay Packers and Philadelphia Eagles. Packers won 27-13. Aaron Rodgers had a good performance. 30 for 39, threw for 313 yards, 2 touchdowns. Carson Wentz had a good one as well. But not as great. 24 for 36, 254 yards. However, no touchdowns. And I won't forget that moment that Rodgers went into that tent. And a lot of people were talking about it, like, what's he doing in that tent? And truth is, he injured his hamstring. And he wanted a little privacy while a trainer taped it up for him. So, you can't blame him for that. I mean, just the way it is. Alright, moving on. I'm going to be talking about the Panthers and the Raiders. That was a close one. Raiders won 35-32. And the Raiders clinched their first winning season since 2002. Derek Carr, he's continuing his MVP campaign. 26 completed passes of 38 attempts, 315 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, can't go wrong there. Cam Newton, he had a subpar performance. 14 for 28, 246 yards. I'm surprised by him. From last season to now, he's really changed. What more can I say? I mean, it happens sometimes. And they're most likely not going to be in the playoffs. I hate to admit it, but where they are right now, they're not gonna. It's not looking good for them. Alright, next game I'm going to be talking about was Chiefs game when they beat the Denver Broncos 30-27. This was a great game. The star of the game was Tyreek Hill. He had 3 touchdowns. One was kickoff return for 86-yard run. He also had a 3-yard run from a pass off. He also caught a pass for a touchdown as well. I mean, I believe he's the first NFL player in history to do so. I mean, Trevor Siemian, he did well. 20 for 34, 368 yards, 3 touchdowns. mean, that's a good performance even though you lost. Alex Smith, 26 for 44, 220 yards. I think what really did it for the Broncos was when Brandon McManus missed that 62-yard field goal. I mean, 62 yards, that's quite an accomplishment to try and accomplish there. Alright, moving on. I'm going to be talking a little bit about hockey. Now, like I said before in my earlier videos, I don't really talk about hockey that much unless it's the New York Rangers. So, I'm only going to get into like a little snippet on this. Last night, New York Rangers beat the Carolina Hurricanes 3-2. Right now, they're 16-7-1. You had goals from Nick Holden and Rick Nash in the second period and third period, respectively. They're having a good season so far. So, hopefully, it should get better. Alright, moving on. Going to be talking a little bit about college basketball. Game I was watching last night, Duke versus Michigan State. Duke won 78-69. Star of that game, I gotta go for Grayson Allen, 24 points. Guy's unbelievable. Emil Jefferson also had a good game, 17 points along with 13 rebounds. Now, the more I do JGait Sports Talk, like as the days go on, the weeks go on actually, I'll be getting a little bit more into college basketball. But that'll be more as we near March Madness. Like, I'll be talking more about that. Because that month is the big one. Alright, last topic I'm going to be discussing. College football. New rankings. Number 1, Alabama. Not surprised about. 2, Ohio State. 3, Clemson. 4, Washington. And 5, Michigan. Those are the top 5. Last week of college football. It's going to be an epic one. But the most recent epic game that happened was the Ohio State and Michigan game. Ohio State the Buckeyes beat the Wolverines 30-27 in double overtime. I mean, just a really epic game. The winning drive, the 15-yard run by Curtis Samuel. I mean, and that really dropped Michigan's status from number 3 in the AP rankings. Jim Harbaugh was furious. And he, so mad, he threw down his headset and he broke them. Boy, do I feel sorry for that headset. Just... I mean, this is going to be a great college football playoff. I mean, it'll be exciting to see who will win the national championship. Alright, and this ends this edition of JGait Sports Talk. But before I go, I'm going to briefly mention, I'm sure a lot of Mets fans are happy that Yoenis Cespedes signed a 4-year, $110 million deal with the Mets. I'm sure a lot of Mets fans are happy. Okay. Until next time, peace out, sports fans.